Hello everyone, welcome to Code Escuela, and in this episode we are going to take a look at the prototype design pattern and how we can use it in our applications. Let's get started. So what is a prototype? So a prototype has the intention of specifying the kinds of objects to create using a prototypical instance and create new objects by copying this prototype. So let's skip some parts here. So let's look at its applicability. Use the prototype pattern when a system should be independent of how its products are created, composed, and represented, and when the classes to instantiate are specified at runtime, for example, by dynamic loading, or to avoid building a class hierarchy of factories that parallels the class hierarchy of products, or when an instance of a class can have one of only a few different combinations of state. It may be more convenient to install a corresponding number of prototypes and clone them rather than instantiating the class manually, each time with the appropriate state. So let's take a look at the structure of the prototype pattern. So here you have two things that are involved here. So first one is the main one would be an interface that defines your clone method. So now this interface would be uh, implemented by your concrete classes. So these classes would now implement the actual clone method, where in itself is just uh, copying itself and then uh, returning it back as a copy of an object of itself. Okay, so one example here in the client side is that when you perform the clone operation, you have the class itself will be returned as a clone. Okay, so participants would be the prototype or the interface that declares the clone method, and then the implementations would be the concrete prototype, and then the client that uses your uh, prototype. Okay, so let's take a look at an example of uh, code. So here I have already have a Blazor application. So in this example, we have three sections on this prototype pattern page. So the left one would be a list of options that allow you to select a set of predefined configurations or specs. For example, if you want to build up a PC, so you have here three options as of the moment, and then you can just select one, or let's just refresh this first so we have an empty data. So if we select this one, Lenovo Legion 5i, we can click on the customize, and then this would now allow you to input or specify, customize the uh, specifications for your computer or PC. So all of these are just text inputs to make the example a bit easier or simpler. So in this case, like that, let's set this one. Okay, and then if you click add to cart, it will be added into our list of orders in this middle box, and then if you click on it, then you will have the details of that uh, configuration displayed on this right box. Okay, so how was this all tied up using the prototype pattern? So let's head out to our code, and here the first thing that we need is the prototype interface. So we have here a single method that would define the clone signature or method, and then what I did here is that I also have this separate interface that would define our the specifications or the data for our PC configuration, and then I inherited the iPrototype interface that has the clone method in it. Okay, now we have here a concrete class or concrete implementation of the iPersonal Computer interface. So basically, I just implemented the properties, and then have at the bottom here is the implementation for the clone method. Okay, so with C# itself, it already has this member wise clone that we can just use to return a shallow copy of this object. But yeah, you can have much more complicated code here that would initialize and define the properties of your object. Okay, so this is a much simpler approach for this one, but yeah, you can have as much complicated code here in your clone method. Okay, so how was this used? So let's head to the prototype pattern page. So this is the code behind, and then we have here on initialized, I have a method for loading the game configurations. Now this one is what would be the initial three options for our selection here. So you can see that we have initialized three objects here and then added it to our gaming PC configuration selection. So here in our template code, I have used the input select control to set the options. Okay, and then for the button, when you click the customize button, then it will run this method. So now here in the method, this is where the actual clone method that we have used. So here we just grab from our list of existing configurations from what was selected, and then from there we just clone it and then set the return it as a selected configuration. Okay, so that we can show it to our uh, so we can show that to our selected config here. So yeah, so this one, yeah, the value for this one. Okay, so going back, once we've clicked the add to cart button, so now we have a option to just clone the selected configuration. Okay, so you can set the values here. Okay, you can set the values here, and then from there, when you click add cart, all of that values will be cloned and added to our cart. Okay, so when that happens, then you already have a list of copies of coming from the same uh, predefined configuration. Okay, so you can have whatever. So now it would be easier for you to, instead of here initializing another configuration, you can just clone the existing one that you have selected from, including the data that you have updated from here, and then you can add it here. So it's much easier having your objects the capacity to clone itself without having to manually initialize an object and then specify the data within it. Okay, so that's how uh, the prototype pattern has been implemented here. So it's much easier. So I hope you have been able to understand this example. But yeah, the benefit of the clone is that you can easily get a copy of data from whatever objects that implements the clone method. Okay, so I guess that wraps up this episode of our prototype design pattern uh, video, and I hope you won't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you get updated to our latest videos. And yeah, I hope to see you again in our future episodes. Thank you and have a great day, everyone.